All right, so for question number 1, we are looking at a single replacement reaction. The single element that we have is a non-metal, which means it is going to switch places with the non-metal here. Okay, so bromide and sulfur are going to switch. That's going to mean that beryllium now ends up with bromine and sulfur ends up by itself. Okay, but we've got to drop and swap these. So this is a -1, this is a +2, so that's going to be BeBr2. Is sulfur special? Yes, comes as an 8. All right, 1 mark if their products look like that. Okay, they're going to get 1 mark for the balancing as well. I've got to go back here and make an 8 there, an 8 here, and an 8 there. Okay, if their balancing looks like that, they get another mark. Each of these is going to be at a 2. Okay, 1 for the products, 1 for the balancing. All right, this question I always put on, and I always put on one like it on the unit exam, just to see who's really paying attention. What kind of reaction is this? It's synthesis. What kind of compound is going to get made when potassium and nitrogen go together? Ionic. What do we write first in an ionic compound? The metal. Okay, this is a -3, this is a +1. It has to be in that order. If it's not, it's wrong. Okay, and that's the whole thing that question is testing, is whether you still remember that in an ionic compound, you write the metal first. Okay, so we've got to balance this whole thing now. So I've got three potassium on this side, but if I put a 3 here, that's not going to work. I've got to balance my nitrogens first. So a 2 there balances my nitrogens, a 6 there balances my potassiums. So 1 mark for the balancing. Question number 3. Okay, I've got a double replacement reaction, so I'm going to swap the metals. That means that sodium will end up with sulfate and copper will end up with hydroxide. These are both ionic, so they have to be dropped and swapped. This is a -2 and that's a +1, so we're looking at Na2SO4. Copper on this side was a +2, because this was a -2, that had to be a +2. So +2, this is a -1, so we're looking at this. All right, if their products look like that, and it doesn't matter whether the sodium sulfide came first or last. I don't care what order these went in, okay, as long as they look like this. Okay, so 1 mark for the products. Then we have to balance, and a 2 there takes care of all the balancing. Questions on number 3? All right, number 4, we have a combustion reaction. Hydrocarbon reacting with oxygen. The products of a combustion reaction are always CO2 and water. 1 mark for that. Again, it doesn't matter whether they had water first and CO2 second. I don't care as long as they're both there. Now we've got to balance the whole reaction. Do I need to use the rule of 2 here? Yeah, because 4 is an even number. All right, so I put a 2 there. That's 8 carbons, so an 8 goes there. 2 times 10 is 20. 10 times 2 is 20. There are 16 oxygens here. There are another 10 here for a total of 26. 13 goes in front of the oxygen. 1 mark for the balancing. Okay, and lastly, we have a decomposition reaction. Manganese 4 chloride is breaking down. So we got manganese and chlorine. Manganese is a metal, so it's not special, okay? But chlorine is one of our diatomic elements, okay? So it comes as a 2. Then we have to balance the whole reaction. Done. Okay, give them a mark out of 10. Let them see it, and then get your stuff ready to go across to the lab.